Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast, your go-to source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We hope you tune in often for all things people management, organizational development and change, organizational leadership, and social impact related. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with Human Capital Innovations Podcast. Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. In this HCI podcast episode, I talk with Mike Vanelli about learning from people management mistakes and making sure employees are heard. Mike Vanelli, welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have a chance to chat with you. We're going to be talking about people management and learning from the types of mistakes that we've encountered in the past, learning and growing from those mistakes so we can improve moving into the future. And part of that is making sure that our employees feel heard and that we can hear their good ideas and capture them and act on them. That is really important for a variety of reasons. So those are the types of things we're going to be discussing today. As we get started, I just wanted to share Mike's bio for everyone. Mike Vanelli is the head video producer with NV Creative. In this role, Mike leads a production team to fill commercials for online and TV ads. Mike has produced over 2,000 video ads to date. He is no stranger to the film and TV industry, having spent 10 years in the business where he has produced TV shows and music videos for big name artists. Mike specializes in making sure each commercial NV Creative produces is unique and delivers the message the brand, product, or business is looking to convey to their target audience. Mike helps clients to get more sales by getting more people to watch their videos. NV Creative offers all kinds of services from explainer videos that focus on the product, brand, or company to national TV campaigns that get a brand more known. NV also offers an ad campaign service to get your brand, product, or business seen. So again, thank you, Mike, for joining me today. I've interviewed lots of people from lots of different industries across the world, and I believe you're the first one in video production and ad production that I've interviewed. And I really look forward to getting your perspective on people management issues within that industry. As we get started, anything you would like to share by way of personal background, context, anything like that?
You pretty much hit it all on the head. I've been doing video production for a long, long time. And really, once I started doing commercials, that's kind of when I found my footing. And the reason why I like doing commercials so much is basically it keeps you really busy. We normally have between 50 and 100 projects going on at once. Thankfully, we have in-house creatives in pre-production, post-production, and production. So we really don't have to outsource a lot. And that gives us the bandwidth to take on so many projects at once. And also, the variety of commercials, we've done everything from bidets to, hair growing pills to really, you name it, we've probably done it.
Well, that's fun, and it's an area, skill set, and expertise that I just simply don't have. So it's fun to touch base with you just in that regard. But again, a unique industry, one that I haven't really explored much on this podcast in the past. Both in terms of the TV and movie industry, but also the ad industry and PR and marketing and those sorts of things. So I really look forward to this. As we launch into the discussion, I thought maybe the first thing we could talk about is some of the types of things you've implemented as a leader in your company so that employees can feel heard, so that employees can share their ideas in a constructive way where it can actually add to the broader dialogue and move the help move your organization forward in a positive direction.
Sure. Yeah. So a while ago, so before we kind of implemented what we use now, it was mainly myself and the head of post-production that would kind of spearhead ideas that we thought were correct or that we thought that would be a good idea to implement at the company. So it was pretty much just him and myself that would discuss ideas to implement, and it was kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, we're the bosses, and here's what we're going to do, regardless of your opinion, and we'll see if it works or not. And that could have been ideas that we had for the pre-production team, that him and I don't work a lot in the pre-production team, but again, it's us, being the bosses saying, hey, this is what we think is best, and they might have thought, that's not really what we do here or whatever. And same thing for the other areas of the business as well. So I was talking with a colleague of mine that works at a different industry, different company, and they were saying how they do kind of a open forum at their weekly meetings, and I forget what they call it. They call it something else, but basically before the lockdowns, we used to have weekly, what we call serial meetings. So basically everybody would kind of put down on a list what their favorite cereal would be, and our production assistant would go to the store and buy all the cereals. And so that is kind of a breakfast meeting that we didn't want to be too formal. So that's why we did cereal rather than like catering and, all this other stuff. But anyway, so, we would do the normal meeting thing where we go over the past week and the week before and the current week. But then we started implementing a thing that we called a hypo session, and hypo short for hypothesis. And with that, basically, everybody would bring one idea regardless of what department they were in and regardless what idea the department was for. So for instance, someone in the pre-production department might have an idea for the post-production department, or whatever. Or it just could be, a general idea, or it could just be a little idea that could be for anything. And so what happened is we really started getting good ideas for the company itself, and even little things that we didn't even realize needed fixing. They would submit things that we didn't even know needed fixing, or just little things that we would have never thought of. So for instance, let's see. So for instance, we have a lot of products that we get for commercials every day, and we keep them in kind of a donation bin in the back that once we're done with the products, they clear. A lot of the products we get, they don't need returned. So we keep them in a donation bin that we allow people from our company to just take home if they need. But and then if they just sit there for too long, we just donate them. But they're a lot of our actors and a lot of our other staff, there are certain items that are kind of bigger ticket items that people want to call dibs on and claim prior to even filming. And so a lot of people were kind of saying, oh, well, if I'm not in the office, then that's not really fair because I would really want it. And so there's something that we have to do about that. And so somebody said, well, can we create like an online reservation form or something that when we get a product in, we can just go on the form and just reserve it, and it's kind of first come, first serve rather than whoever's there at the time. And we were like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So we did that, and it's been working out really well. But it was mainly just a way to, like I said, allow any person from any department to give an idea for any other department. And the reason we called it a hypothesis session rather than brainstorming or whatever is everybody's ideas get heard and everybody's ideas get put on like a master list. And then from there, it is up to myself and my head of post, who's the other boss, it is up to us to kind of go through there and see if it's feasible. And we even actually try out some of them, and some of them don't work, but we still try them out. And I think that the rest of our staff really likes that they can see that we're actually trying it out, even if it doesn't work, because then again, they feel heard. It's not like we heard them and then we just kind of brushed it off to the side and it's kind of like whatever we say goes. They see, oh well, they tried it out, it didn't work, but hey, at least we know that they're listening.
Yeah, I really love that. And it doesn't need to be anything complex. It's just a simple meeting that you have on a regular basis. You have a mechanism in place for it to be evaluated, to test things out. I love that framing. I contrast that with an experience that I had at an organization. This was, wow, a long time ago, 15 plus years ago. And they had like a innovation bonus. And so if someone came up with a really good idea that they decided to implement, then they would like give you, I don't know, $1,000 or something. And they had this online submission form, and you just go in and you'd submit it, and then it was like a black hole. You never heard anything, right? And they never acknowledged you for submitting. I remember, especially when I was early at that organization, I'm just an observant guy, so I'm just wandering around. I'm just observing things. And so I would submit ideas, and I never heard anything back. Like, nobody acknowledged anything that I submitted, and I never got a bonus. But then over time, what I started to see is that some of the things I had suggested started to pop up and that they started to do. And so they just took the idea. I mean, maybe other people had the idea too, I don't know. But I mean, it felt like they took the idea, they didn't give me credit, that they didn't give me the bonus, and they just absorbed it. And I felt anything but heard. I felt exploited, right? And I felt cheated. And so, and you know what? I wouldn't have needed the carrot of a bonus, dangled in front of me. Just like someone listening, and like, I have the opportunity to share this idea, and I know someone's going to listen, they're going to try it, or at least consider it. That would have been meaningful. And so that sounds like what you're doing. It doesn't need to be complicated, but that can go a long way in helping employees feel part of a bigger team and feeling more meaning and purpose in what they're doing.
Yeah, because we don't really need to, like you said, dangle the carrot of a bonus in front of them, because a lot of the ideas that they're coming up with, it's either to help with the workflow or help with something in their department directly or the company as a whole, or it's even sometimes a pain point that they kind of, because with pre-production, production, post-production, even though they're separate departments, they all work together. And, for instance, if the post-production is editing a project and doing some visual effects, then they might contact pre-production and say like, hey, when you were working with the client, like, what did they say about this effect? What did the script say? What was your conversation? So they are, communicating. And so when they're submitting hypothesis ideas, then it's kind of, again, they don't really need the carrot. They just want to see something implemented that would help them or would help another department, and kind of the reward is the chance that gets implemented, and that their work is easier or their colleagues' work is easier.
Which is innately rewarding, right? It has an intrinsic motivation factor to it. So that's really great. So I'm curious, to the extent you feel comfortable sharing, like, what are some of the types of missteps that might have happened over the years? What did you learn from them, and how have you been able to improve on the people management processes within your organization?
Sure. So I can think of two instances pretty exactly. One instance was kind of it kind of has to do with not hiring internally, but promoting internally. And what I mean by that is We had one employee that was doing one job and he was really great at his job. Um, he I didn't hear it directly from him. I kind of heard through the grapevine that he was kind of wanting to move up, to a higher position. And at the time, we didn't really have anything except for kind of another position open that he wasn't like really trained for, and he didn't have a lot of experience in. But I thought that he might be able to do a good job. And so, I confronted him and I asked him if he'd be interested in the position. And I think because, he might have wanted to move up, that he, jumped at the position. And, I kind of told him like, hey, I know that you probably don't have a lot of experience in this, but, we are going to give you some training, just some like online courses, and you can ask other people around the company how to do it and whatnot. So he ended up jumping into the position. He he did a good job for what his skill level was at the position, but basically he ended up quitting after about maybe a year and a half at the position, and we left on really good terms. It wasn't a firing. He just said that it really wasn't for him, that the it wasn't what he thought he wanted to do, and he kind of jumped at the position rather than waiting for a position that he really wanted to come along, and which I thought was fine. But then on my end, I kind of just realized like, hey, first of all, I shouldn't listen to the grapevine of of just gossip around the office or studio about who wants to move up and whatnot. I should wait for somebody to approach me, or wait for a position that I know that they would be really good at and that wouldn't involve a lot of like new training. And then at the same time, it was just a learning experience. Again, kind of, they didn't really know the details of the position, like they weren't trained for it, and kind of having to train them for the position. In hindsight, if I needed somebody for that position, I would have probably would have looked outside the company for somebody that was trained in that position, because I did spend a lot of time and money training them, for them to just work at the position for a year and then say bye. So, and I could have saved a lot of time and money just hiring somebody that knew what they were doing from the get-go, rather than just trying to hire internally at that point.
Yeah. I think it's good that you were trying to keep your ear to the ground, trying to be aware, that that's something that your people might want, opportunities, right? And so thinking about succession planning, thinking about career development planning and opportunities for people is a really good thing to do. But it is tricky, and I've seen this kind of problem happen in many organizations, where they know they have someone who is interested in moving up. The fit of like whatever's available for them to move up isn't really there, but they try to do it anyways, and they try to fit them in. It just doesn't work out. And then, like you said, it's a cost and expense to you, the leader in the organization, but you're also setting the person up for failure. So your motive is a good one. Your motive is you want to give this person an opportunity to develop, to grow, to move up in their career. But unfortunately, the effect is it hurts the organization, and it usually hurts them because they're not as successful as they could have been. They're not as happy because the fit isn't as good as it should have been. And ultimately, it's just, it's not going to work out. So it's important for us to definitely keep, be attentive to and keep in mind those types of issues, but only when it is a good fit. And ultimately, we can help our people, and be proactive and have conversations with our people and help them understand, like, this is what this would entail. This is what you need to do. Maybe now is not the right time. Maybe you can go back to school. Maybe you can do your own training, and you'll be ready the next time the position comes available. Just having those types of dialogues can be really effective.
Right. And then on the flip side, the other one was kind of the opposite of that one, which was we needed we decided we needed an in-house writer because we were having just a subcontractor come in like once or twice a week to work on scripts, and so I decided I wanted to hire an in-house writer. And because of what I learned with with the other employee from the previous story, I didn't even look internally because from my knowledge, nobody fit the description for the job role. And so I hired outside, hired a writer. She was really great. She did a really great job, but but it was getting, it just wasn't cost effective to have an in-house writer, after all. But she still worked here again for about a year, and that was a layoff. So we let her go. And again, it was just a financial decision. She did a really great job, but we just said, because you're only a writer, there are times when the script writing is kind of down. So there might be weeks where she writes 15 scripts. There might be weeks where she writes 2 scripts, and then she's just kind of like sitting there waiting. And so after letting her go, we did try to outsource it for a little while, and again, it came back to like, well, I'm not really enjoying it. And it actually came up in a hypo session where somebody mentioned that one of our staff members from another department, from pre-production, was and he was an admin. He wasn't creative, so he was just communicating with clients. That he was a writing major, and that I did notice that if he kind of got through everything he needed to do, he did have some downtime, maybe like once a day, once every other day. And so I didn't know that, and I approached him, and I said like, hey, I noticed that if you get through like all your contacts that you need to, and you get done what you need to do, you have like a little bit of downtime every day. So I was wondering you know if you'd be interested in trying out writing a couple scripts, since you already know kind of the workflow. You communicate with the clients, and so you know what they want anyway. Would you be open to that? And he said absolutely. And so we tried him out for a little while, and he's been one of our head writers ever since. And it's worked out really well. But again, it was like kind of the opposite, where I didn't want to hire internally because I didn't know anybody had the skills, and so I hired somebody else, and then it didn't work out because sometimes they didn't have enough to work on. And then when I realized, that I could hire internally, he not only, because I knew he was busy with like his administration stuff, but then once he gets done with that, then he works on scripts. And so it's never like downtime like it was with the dedicated writer. And yeah, he's still writing today.
Yeah, what good examples, contrasting examples of the same phenomenon. And I guess really what that illustrates is there's no like one size fits all approach.
Mhm.
That you have to take each of those situations uh, one by one and assess what the needs are, what the business case for the position is, what the talents of your team are. And as long as we're observant and we're aware of our people, we know our people, then we can start to find those fits or avoid the misfits that might not occur
Yeah.
as we're trying to move forward in a positive direction. Well, Mike, that's been some really good insight into your industry. I also appreciate you sharing with everyone, those examples and the really important message about making sure that we listen and we give people a chance to be heard as they're part of our team. So they don't feel so isolated. They don't feel like they're doing their one little thing, but they're really part of a team, and they have the opportunity to contribute and to make things better for everyone. We're drawing short on time, so I want to respect your time. Before we part, though, I wanted to give you a chance to share with listeners how they can connect with you, find out more about your business and what you can do for them.
Sure. So, like you said before, the company is NV Creative, and pretty much the tagline is we make videos and ads for business products and brands. And we can be found on our website at thinkenvy.com. That's THINKENVY.com. And we're also all on the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's all Think Envy. So you can find us anywhere. And the one good thing about us is that, like I said before, we have mostly everything in house, including we have our own studio, we have our own equipment, we have our own standing sets. So pretty much we can almost do a video for really any tier. You know, we've done like videos for single people and startups all the way up to, you know, the Fortune 500 companies. So so anywhere in the middle, we can handle content for.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you, Mike. It's been a real pleasure talking with you. I appreciate you sharing your insights, and I hope listeners will check you out. Go look on your LinkedIn, get connected, see if there's anything you can do for them. I hope everyone stays healthy and safe, that everyone can continue to find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope everyone has a great week. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
We are excited about the launch of HCI's new magazine, Human Capital Leadership. Human Capital Leadership is a free, interactive e-magazine designed to help individuals, leaders, and organizations find innovative approaches to maximize their human capital potential. We will be publishing issues quarterly in August, November, February, and May. Check out the first issue and let us know what you think. Thanks again for joining us for this episode of the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. I hope you stay healthy and safe and that you have a great week.